Today we're going to talk about direction, and we're going to talk about, do you need to have a direction? And what's the title of today? Hold on a second. Deciding on your direction. We're going to talk about, do you need to decide on your direction, whatever you want to call it. Now, in life, in the illusion, in the dream state, what happens is that we are, the character of you is created, and that character is created, this is not bad, this is not good, is created by many times, not all the time, many times, is created by motivations, by energies, by influences that consciously and subconsciously tell you to take a direction in your life. Let's just take one of the first ones. In general, most people are influenced. This is not good or bad. Remember, nothing is either good or bad. Most people are influenced at a very early age to be a good girl, to be a good boy. And everything is set up so that you are rewarded for being a good girl or a good boy, and you are punished for being a bad girl or a bad boy, right? It is as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's kind of like the idea, like you have to ask for something nicely, right? Remember, I am not saying this is good or bad. I'm telling you, we're talking about how direction starts to happen in your life. So you are influenced by your parents, by the world, by your culture, by your society, and of course, by your separated self, your egoic mind, that your direction needs to be this. So direction is be a good girl. Direction is be responsible. Direction is do not do anything bad. Direction is make sure people like you. Direction is don't do anything to offend anybody. Direction is be a productive member of society, right? So I'm just laying groundwork here, right? So as you grow and you get into your, when you're under 10, you start looking around the world and you're like, oh, I know what to do to get approval. I know what to do to get people to like me. I know what to do to get your parents off your back, and you start to develop this direction. Now, this direction that you have in your life could be said to have nothing to do with the truth of who you are. It is only the carrot and the stick living itself out. It's only the carrot and the stick living itself out. Okay? So you're running away from this and you're going towards that. Immediately you are in suffering. If that's what's called direction, right? So you're in suffering. So you're getting away from the bad, you're going towards the good. Remember, this is all neutral. So this is how direction starts to happen in your life. And you build on that through your teens, and you build on through your later teens, and then through your early 20s, and then you're pretty much on a direction. By the time usually by the time you're in your early 20s, you're on a direction. Mid 20s, you're definitely on a direction. You're going in a certain direction, right? Now, this is the basis of how it works. This is not statistical at all. This is just from looking at my students, myself in my life, of what's happened, and everyone that I've worked with. And just so you know, I've worked for for over 25 years with people around the world. So I kind of have an idea about people. I would say that by the time people get to their mid 20s, this is an estimate, about 80% of their direction is not their direction. It is all based on needing approval, wanting success, wanting to run away from pain, getting out of survival mode. That's where it's coming from, right? I would say 80%, it might be more, 80%. Now, there might be some things that are intrinsically directed. So no matter if you were from a certain culture, a certain background, a certain sex or whatever, you have I love the movies. And you go, oh yeah, I love the movies. And you move towards movie stuff, right? Gardening, having interaction with people, mathematics, geology, whatever. That's intrinsically motivated. That's not motivated from your being a good girl, the carrot, or the stick, right? So I would say actually probably more, about 85% is directed through all your culturalization. That's not even a word, but whatever, you know what I mean? And then about 15% is that, oh, yeah, right? Okay. All right, let's take a big deep breath. Hi, Kyrie. Something I didn't say while you're thinking about something to say or ask or contribute is that influence, direction, carrot, stick is always concerned with the future or the past. Running away from the past, going towards the future. Afraid of that future, going that way. Afraid of that past, running away from that past to get to there. Hello, Julie. Thank you so much for contributing. I feel like I have been fighting my conditioning my whole life. Love the green. Thank you. Yeah. Did a little. Yeah, thanks. And you're right, Julie. You have been. I mean, you might not have been fighting it. Listen, most people aren't fighting it. They're just living it out. And then they're realizing, like, why am I so freaking angry? Jella says, difficult to follow our heart if others disapprove. It's only difficult for the separated self. Your true self doesn't give a shit about that. Jello. Curl Rush says, don't just sit there, do something. Okay. Kyrie says, I've been crafting since I was 6, but I was told I was too bad. I couldn't make a living at it when I was young. Oh my God, Kyrie, that is so important that you say that. I'm telling you, first of all, an opinion is like everyone's got one. You're crafting, whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so, right? So this is perfect. This is one thing I definitely want to say this. Most people, I've said this a million times, I will say it till the day I die. Most people believe that their calling, let's say your crafting is your calling. Oh, crafting is your calling. Your crafting is your calling. Most people have been brainwashed into thinking that your crafting has to be your career. No, it doesn't. It does not. If you're of a certain age, you've been around for a little while, this was a very popular thing in the last 20 years, 10 especially, that you better find what you're good at, do what you're good at, and then find a way to what? Make money at it. Make money at that thing you're good at. You know, you want to learn how to kill your inspiration really quick? Try to make money out of something that's really from your heart. And then people struggle. And then they think they're bad. And then they think they're stupid or whatever. So your calling does not have to be your career. Now, some people, this does come back to direction, right? Some people's calling is their career and it just happens. That's great. That's great. But there is a disease in Western culture that you have to make your calling your career, or that's an option, and if you don't do it, something's wrong with you. Say yes if you know what I'm talking about. Anybody, anyone, ever. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's keep going. So, do you need to decide a direction? Do you need to decide a direction? That's what we're talking about right now. So most of the time, what I was saying, 80 to 85% of your direction of your life is not your decision. It is your culture. It is your family. It is the running away from the stick and trying to get to the carrot. That's what most people's direction in their life is, right? That's not deciding on your direction on some level. And if you do make a decision based on that, you're making a decision based on something else that has nothing to do with you, right? Take a deep breath. Okay. Jackie says, people also tend to believe that how they've been raised and taught by their parents, this is the exact model that they need to follow in their own children. Same as conditioning, yes, exactly, for sure. That's why the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. This is why most people will die. This is this is going to sound very, I don't know, motivational, but it's not. I'm just stating a fact. Most people will live their whole life and they will die in the same socioeconomic bracket that they were born in. That's the truth. That is the truth. I'm not advocating changing that. Just know that, because it's what you know. It's what you know. It's what you know. So, your direction. Do you need to choose a direction? Now, I am a law of attraction, certified law of attraction trainer. I operate on law of attraction in my life constantly. It's a way of life for me. I teach people. I can tell you exactly how to do it. It's not very hard at all. Now, is that directing your direction? On some level, of course it is, because you're trying to, or working on attracting something to you. That is going in a certain direction, a job, a relationship, a new body, whatever it happens to be. So that is definitely directed, no doubt about it. Now, okay, let me say something about law of attraction. The law of attraction, 95% of the time, this is my experience, 95% of the time, people are trying to use the law of attraction to get something they think they want, but not what they really want. And that's the truth. They want the success, they want the car, they want the job, that's not what they really want. That is not what they really want. Almost always. The law of attraction is very, when you know it, it's aligned, it's kind of a directionless process. It's a directionless process. I've never said this before in all my years of teaching. The law of attraction is the pure law of attraction is a directionless process. Why? Why do I say that? Because direction is something that's alive. It's happening every moment. It's happening all the time. Direction is happening. Energy is happening. So it's happening at all time. So this is what's called living in the flow. People live in the flow, right? And when you live in the flow, now I'm going to tell you this. Living in the flow, that's just the terminology I'm going to use to share this with you. Living in the flow is what you want. It's not the car. It's not the job. It's not the girl. It's not the body. You really want to live in the flow. Why do I say that? You really want to live in the flow because that's who you are. Take a deep breath. You are boundless energy of pure potentiality. Put that on a t-shirt. You are boundless energy of pure potentiality. That's what you are. That has a direction. as A Course in Miracles, if you didn't know me, I'm a Course in Miracles teacher and student for 40 years. Course in Miracles would say that you have a highly individualized curriculum. That highly individualized curriculum will direct you in the way that's perfect for you. But if you don't follow that highly individualized curriculum, you will be chasing the carrot or going away from the stick. And that is not who you are. That is not who you are. Take a deep breath. So it's this boundless energy of direction that's happening all the time. Many times, if you've let go enough of your shit, you can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it, you can be like, oh, I'm going to call that person, I'm going to do that thing. This is what's going to happen. This is how I want to run my life, basically. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to do that. No, I'm going to do that. I guess that's what's going to happen now, because it's not that I don't make a plan somehow, but I don't rely on a plan. I just go, this is what's going to happen. Now, what does the world say about what I do? They would say, oh, so irresponsible. So irresponsible. This is the go with the flow. You don't have to make a direction. You have to know who you are. Your individualized curriculum. What turns you on? What makes you feel good? What feels right? Most people have done so much of what makes them feel bad. So much of what is wrong that they pushed against, and because of society, their culture, their parents, their wanting to be liked, to be the good girl, all that stuff, they've done it so long that they don't know who they are anymore. But once you start to break that down, you don't need to make a direction. You don't need to. It will just happen. People are like, really? Yes. This is just a little example. Just a little example. I work for myself. I'm teach. I have classes. I have my programs. I have whatever I do. And I was like, after this, what I just finished, I'm like, what am I going to do? And then one of my students who's graduating from my big program, well, two of the students, they were like, you know what? You really should do a book club about that book. And And it's a book that I, hands down, think changes people's lives. And I love it. And I've never done that before. And I was like, oh. And I'm a teacher. I know how to make worksheets. I know how to create a lesson plan. I know how to run a book club. I'm like, oh, I guess that's what I'm doing. I guess that's what I'm doing. We're going to do that book. We're going to have a book club based on that. That's what we're going to do. That's what I'm talking about. The direction is happening. It's alive in the moment. And if you have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, you go, oh, that's what we're going to do. Right? People look at me and be like, you're not very responsible. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So you don't have to make a plan. This is the opposite of goal setting and the opposite of all of that motivational stuff. They would say, oh no, you have to have a plan. You have to have a goal. You have to get, I'm not making poo-pooing that, because if that's what you're into, that's fine. But that is not what I'm talking about at all, at all. Steve, oh my God, Steve, good to see you. Is it a vibration of law of attraction? Is it the heart-centeredishness? That's good, Steve. It definitely is heart-centered. You have to know what's happening here. We're run from this brain, and there's a brain in your heart. Look up the Heart Math Institute. You probably know it, right? Right? There is a whole intelligence that's going on here. You all know that to be true, but how much are you really putting your money in where your mouth is and running your life by this? Even Einstein said, the intellect needs to follow the intuition, not the other way around. The intuition has to come first, then the intellect comes second. That's its job. Most people are run intellect, do the smart thing, do the right thing, do the thing that first, and then have their intuition catch up with it. No. Why are people so miserable? Because they put the intellect before the intuition. All right? Take a deep breath. So, Steve, very good. Yeah.